It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the films of April 7th, 2006. We've got 5 movies to look at today. On the docket for today, we have Rob Schneider, David Spade, and John Heder in a baseball comedy produced by Adam Sandler. Antonio Banderas teaches a bunch of kids in detention, I should say, to ballroom dance. Because why not, and take the lead. Bruce Willis and Morgan Freeman are part of an ensemble cast in Lucky Number 11. Monique stars in her first movie after the Parker success. And Jennifer Aniston is part of an ensemble that includes Catherine Keener and also Frances McDormand and Joan Cusack. But we'll take a look at those movies in a little bit. But before we do, let's talk about the biggest new release of the weekend, which is, as I mentioned before, Rob Schneider, David Spade, and John Heder starring in The Benchwarmers. Yeah, I'm kind of split on this movie in particular. It's not a great movie by any means necessary, but it's certainly a lot better than some of these other movies that Adam Sandler has produced that have not been that great. And especially, this one's definitely a lot better than something like Deuce Bigalow, European Gigolo. But, as the title indicates here, you have 3 nerds and a billionaire forming a titular baseball team to take on Little League teams. And, the billionaire in this is John Lovitz, by the way, and you see Reggie Jackson in there. Is the cast. It also includes Craig Kilborn, Molly Sims, Tim Meadows, Aaron Bartlett, Mario Nolasco from Prison Break, Bill Romanowski, because, when I think of when I think of a movie that Bill Romanowski should be in, it's something like this, because, of course, he had a great baseball career. Not football, but, his football career was great and all, but, man, when he was a baseball player, which the joke is that he never was, But yeah, this is a film that is very much a mixed bag for me because, yeah, it's your typical underdog sports story. It's an underdog sports story produced by Adam Sandler of all people, so usually that's a sign that, yeah, this isn't going to work overall, but really, the film itself, I don't hate it, but I don't love it either. I think it's a very, very mixed bag of a movie. It's a film that I should not like because it has a lot of the same things I did not like about Deuce Bigalow or most of Rob Schneider's movies in general here, but there's those little bits here and there where the film actually does get a couple of chuckles here and there. I think mostly because of John Heder, because of what he brings to the table in here. A chance for him to show that, hey, he's not just Napoleon Dynamite, even though he's kind of like that in this movie in general here. And there is a little bit more of an emotion, like not more of a heartfelt push here, where you have one of the characters who used to bully a kid like he was when he was little, and it's kind of part of the third act breakup thing. But there's a good message in there about not bullying people just because of who they are in general here. So I got to give the movie credit for that. As far as the film itself goes, yeah, it's about what you kind of expect from a movie like this, but it's definitely one of the better Adam Sandler produced movies around this time. But it's definitely one of the better Rob Schneider movies in general. Not quite. Like I said, not quite good, not quite great, but not quite good, not quite bad, but in the middle. And for an Adam Sandler produced movie or an Adam Sandler movie in general, that's usually a sign that, hey, maybe this is something that if you watch it with the right mindset, you can go into it and have a good time with it. It's a film that I think works fine for what it is, but for a one-time watch, I think it works fine. Other than that, though, this isn't one you're going to want to watch over and over again. If you want to see this done better, go watch Kicking and Screaming from the year before with Will Ferrell and Mike Ditka. That one also had Mike Ditka in a role where he's not related to the sport involved, but what they do with him in that movie works a lot better than what they do kind of with Reggie Jackson in here, or Bill Romanowski in general. Not Reggie Jackson. Bill Romanowski is what I'm trying to say, but I digress. Benchwarmers, not good, not great, right in the middle. Probably makes for a better experience overall if you go into it with the right mindset. So, yeah, with all that said, let's go ahead and move on to our next movie here, because I'm stumbling on my words here. Let's take a look at Antonio Banderas, who takes the lead. No, bang the shit out of her. Exactly, that's what those kids wanted to say to him at that point. But this is Take the Lead, and in New York, the polite dance instructor Pierre Dulaine, played by Antonio Banderas, sees a black teenager vandalizing the car of the director of a public school, and on the next day, he volunteers to teach dance to students to give respect, dignity, self-confidence, trust, and teamwork. The reluctant director, Augustine James, played by Alfre Woodard, offers the troublemakers that are in detention expecting Pierre to give up on his intentions. Pierre struggles against the prejudice and ignorance of the students, parents, and other teachers, but wins his battle when the group accepts to compete in a ballroom dance competition. we had a lot of dance movies around this time that came out. I mean, I guess everyone was trying to capture the success of You Got Served a couple of years ago, because we had this, we have Stick It, which is more of a not really a dance movie, but set up in the vein of a dance movie. But then the big one is Step Up, coming up in the summertime, excuse me. And then the following year, the year starts off with Stomp the Yard. So everyone was cashing in on the You Got Served craze, apparently. And this was a film that, yeah, this is about as generic and not even bland, but just kind of lackluster when you really look at it in the long run. This is directed by Liz Friedlander, who I think she directed. I was sworn she directed something. Maybe I think of something else, but she directed a lot of music videos before. This was only a film she directed, a theatrical film that she directed. She also did a lot of television work, from stuff like Melrose Place, One Tree Hill, 90210, American Horror Story, The Equalizer, The Boys. Like, she's done a ton of work you're very familiar with in general here. It's got a good cast overall in here. Like I said, Antonio Banderas, Alfre Woodard. You have John Ortiz, Rob Brown, Yaya DaCosta, Dante Bosco's in here, Jenna Dewan, who of course would later have a bigger dance hit in the year with Step Up. As far as it goes, though, it's just kind of a generic film in general here. There's nothing really about it that makes it stand up in any way, shape, or form. It's just a film that really, I think, is trying a little bit too hard to mix two different genres into one. You can tell that this is a lot of Dead Poet Society mixed in with a little bit of the aforementioned Step Up, but either way, it just doesn't quite work that way here. And as much as Antonio Banderas is trying his hardest to make this work, it's just not worth it in the end. It's just a film that's just kind of like, it's passable, I guess. Kind of like with The Benchwarmers. If you go into it with the right mindset, maybe you can find some value in it. But me personally, it's not one I'd want to watch over and over again, honestly. For a one-time watch, it's fine. But other than that, though, not so much. So with that said, let's go ahead and move on to film number 3 on this list. Probably the best overall film we have this weekend. And that is Josh Hartnett, Lucy Liu, Morgan Freeman, and Bruce Willis in Lucky Number 11. Oh, and Ben Kingsley's also in it too. They won't tell you that in the trailer, because we were in a time when we have to show, if we're going to show Ben Kingsley in a movie, we have to show him in the worst possible movie ever, not in a good movie like this. So in an airport waiting room, a man in a wheelchair tells a stranger a story about a fixed horse race in 1979 that resulted in families' deaths. In Manhattan, 2 bookies and the son of a mob boss die, and a young man just out of the shower answers the door to a neighbor woman and explains that he's visiting. He's had a bad week, includes being mugged, and doesn't know where his pal who lives there is. The neighbor is chatty, she's a coroner. 2 thugs arrive and believe the visitor to be the guy who lives there, takes him to see the boss with his dead son, who tells him to kill the son of his mob rival. Mistaken identity. What connects the threads? Cops are watching. That's literally what the plot is on IMDb, and it makes it seem more complicated than it is, and no, this is pretty easy to understand, and that's why I kind of like the movie in general here. You get it has a good mystery to it, but it doesn't overcomplicate things in general. Unlike that plot synopsis I read there, this is a really good movie, and one that I saw in theaters on opening weekend. I don't know, I just maybe wanted to see Bruce Willis in a movie. Is I was at a point where I was seeing Bruce Willis in the movie at that time. I was going to go see it anyway, and yeah, the movie really is very good. You got a great cast that works very well. This director, Paul McGuigan, does a very good job of handling the script overall, the mystery and the where does Josh Hartnett Toy Bone. I'm not going to stop now. I'm already halfway through what I want to say. But Josh Hartnett is very good in the movie. He really is a guy that, he has no idea, like, he does a good job of making it seem like he has no idea why he's being involved in this, when you know that he's playing a major part of the storyline that we don't know about overall. And I think everybody in here does a very good job with the performances here. The visual look of the film is very impressive overall. It's a film that works very well. It has a really good cast, a really good mystery aspect to it, a really good story overall, and it's just a really fun film overall. A very underrated little gem here. I say definitely check it out. It's definitely worth a watch. Lucky Number 11. So with that said, let's move on to our next movie, and that is Monique, starring in Fat Girls. I mean, fat chicks need love too. I mean, that's probably the best way to describe this movie. But you have Monique starring as a woman who has big plans for a large lady. She's designing a sexy line of clothes for curvaceous women like herself, but when she can't get funding for her designs or meet a man who appreciates her unique physiques, Jasmine's patience runs thin. That is until she wins an all-expenses-paid trip to a resort in Palm Springs, where she just might meet the man of her dreams. And, man, this is a film that really should have gone one way, but it goes about where you think it's going to go. I was expecting another last holiday movie, kind of like with Queen Latifah in that movie, but this one looked like it was going to go in that direction, but then it just goes down a predictable route we've seen done to death already. And Monique can be very entertaining. She was great on The Parkers, and of course she won an Oscar for her work in Precious, which was more than well deserved. But the film itself here, it falls into predictable territory you would think it would fall into, and unfortunately, there's no real spark there to really give this movie life whatsoever. And it's a shame because you can see the potential there. There is a good uplifting storyline here and a really good message about, doesn't matter how heavy you are, like you could still find happiness and love if you look in the right places overall. But the jokes are not that great. The comedy really isn't that strong, and the story really falls into territory we've seen done to death so many times beforehand. It's a shame because there was a lot of things I thought I was going to really enjoy about it, but then right as the film gets going, you pretty much know exactly where it's heading, and unfortunately, it's not in a good place. And I was kind of bummed by that. I was really thinking that there was going to be a lot more to this, but yeah, not so much. So unfortunately, it's a hard pass on Fat Girls. It just wasn't for me. Maybe it'll work for some other people, but for me personally, it didn't work for me. So with that said, let's go ahead and move on to the last film we have here, and that is Nicole Hofner's Friends with Money. Yeah, that job she has unmade, this was the most memorable picture from this entire movie. That's the reason I think this movie got anybody's interest in this film in general, because, I mean, you got Jennifer Aniston dressed up as a sexy maid. I mean, what more do you need? But apparently there's a lot more to it if you go into it with a mindset. You have 4 women friends. 3 are wealthy and married, plus there's Olivia, played by Aniston, who's a former teacher who is now a maid. The marriages are in various states of health. Franny and Matt are happy and very rich. Christine and David write screenplays together and are remodeling their home and argue. Jane is angry all the time, and Aaron, who's an attentive husband, strikes everyone as gay. Franny sets up Olivia with a friend of hers, Mike, a personal trainer, and Olivia takes him with her to a couple of house cleaning jobs. A benefit dinner for ALS, an awkward guy named Marty whose place Olivia cleans, and a French maid's outfits figure in the story. Is there more to life than its problems? And this movie does a very good job of handling those situations. This is, like I said, directed by Nicole Hofner, who made a criminally underrated film with James Gandolfini and Julie Louis-Dreyfus that came out just a little bit after James Gandolfini's passing, Enough Said, which is a fantastic movie. I can't recommend that one enough. But most recently she did You Hurt My Feelings, which, if I remember correctly, I thought it was another movie. I thought it was another movie in general, but this is a really good film. It's a really well-made film. A very good cast overall. Catherine Keener, Jennifer Aniston, as I mentioned, Frances McDormand, Joe Cusack. You forget Jennifer Aniston actually did have a lot of really good movies that came out after Friends ended, with those few little hiccups here and there, Derailed, and then there was also Along Came Polly. But I like this movie a lot. I thought it was a very good film. I thought it was very well done. I really like it a lot. I can't recommend it enough. Definitely seek it out if you can find it. Friends with Money. Really well made. And so with that said, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies. And the next time we meet, we'll take a look at 5 more movies, including David Zucker's farewell to the Scary Movie series, Scary Movie 4, Disney's answer, or ripoff, to Madagascar, if you will, The Wild. We also have a couple movies here that are before the movies I want to talk about here, but we're not going to talk about them. Gretchen Mol starring in the notorious Betty Page, American Psycho director Mary Herron's follow-up to that film. We also have Kinky Boots, which later became a Broadway musical in its own rights, and Ellen Page starring in Hard Candy. So we have 5 films to look at overall. We will delve into all 5 of those films on the next episode. That'll be coming up tomorrow. But until then, thank you so much for watching. And if you want to see more videos like this, please hit the playlist on the next page. Check out the previous episode. And also don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and notification button, because we post videos every day here on this channel. And you get updates on when those videos come out. Now, there will be a Time About the Movies flashback coming today. I know I promised one last week and it didn't come, but there is going to be one this week. So we're going to finally wrap up November on this Time About the Movies flashback episode, which will be coming up right after I post this. So stick around. We will be right back. I promise you that. probably shouldn't be doing that. But I do promise you that there will be a Time About the Movies flashback coming up. So we'll be back.